I have had patients who were told their blood work was completely normal, and they were still barely getting through the day. No energy in the morning, crashing by 2 p.m., brain fog that won't go away no matter how much coffee they drink. What standard blood tests miss are 3 specific deficiencies. They're very common, they make you feel terrible, and in most cases, they're fixable. That's what I want to walk you through today. Because fatigue is one of the most poorly handled problems in medicine. People get told their labs look fine and go home still exhausted. They assume it's stress, bad sleep, or just getting older. Sometimes that's part of it. But very often, there's something specific being missed. Something that won't show up unless you know exactly what to look for. The first one is iron, but probably not in the way you're thinking. Most people know that low iron can cause anemia. What most people don't know is that you can feel completely wiped out from low iron long before anemia ever develops. Your iron can be draining away, stealing your energy, while your blood test still comes back looking normal. This happens more than people realize. It's especially common in women, vegetarians, runners, and people with ongoing gut problems. So what does iron actually do? Your red blood cells carry oxygen through your body. To do that, they use a protein called hemoglobin. And hemoglobin cannot be made without iron. But iron does more than that. It also helps the tiny energy-making parts inside your cells, called mitochondria, do their job. Think of them like small power plants. When iron is low, those power plants can't run at full speed. Your cells don't make enough energy, and you feel it everywhere. Your muscles feel heavy. Your brain feels slow. You get winded doing simple things, climbing stairs, carrying bags. Your hands and feet stay cold. Some people lose more hair than usual. Others get a strong urge to chew ice. That last one sounds strange, but it's actually a well-known sign of low iron. Here's why doctors miss this. A basic blood test checks your red blood cell count, but it won't tell you how much iron your body has stored. For that, your doctor needs to run a test called ferritin. Ferritin shows your iron reserves, how much your body has saved up. You can have near-empty reserves and still look fine on a standard test. Your doctor might see a ferritin level of 12 and call it normal. But most doctors who work with fatigue regularly want to see that number closer to 30 or 50 before saying you're truly okay. The normal range on lab reports was set to detect disease, not to tell you whether your body is running at its best. If you think iron might be your problem, ask your doctor to test both your red blood cell count and your ferritin level. Then talk about what those numbers mean for how you actually feel, not just whether they fall inside the printed range. For food, iron from meat, poultry, and seafood is the easiest for your body to absorb. Iron from plant foods, like lentils, spinach, and fortified cereals, is harder to absorb on its own. But eating those foods with something high in vitamin C, like orange juice or bell peppers, helps your body take in more. Coffee and tea with meals block iron absorption. And if you take both iron and calcium supplements, space them apart by a couple of hours. They fight each other for absorption. The second deficiency is vitamin D, and the numbers here are hard to ignore. About 40% of adults in the United States don't have enough vitamin D. Millions more are in a gray zone, not technically deficient, but not at a level where their body works well. This is more common in people with darker skin, people who spend most of their time indoors, people in northern states, and older adults. But it affects all kinds of people. Vitamin D acts more like a hormone than a regular vitamin. Think of a hormone as a chemical messenger, something your body makes to tell different organs what to do. Almost every part of your body has a way to receive vitamin D signals: your brain, your muscles, your immune system, your gut. When vitamin D is low, a lot of things start working poorly at once. That's why the symptoms can feel vague and hard to connect to one cause. Fatigue is the most common sign. But low vitamin D can also cause muscle weakness, a low mood that won't lift, more frequent illness, poor sleep, and aching bones, especially in the back and legs. That bone pain often gets blamed on arthritis or just getting older. Here's what's actually happening. Vitamin D helps your cells produce energy. It also affects how your brain makes serotonin, a chemical tied to mood and focus. And it affects melatonin, the chemical that signals your body to sleep. So when vitamin D is low, you may feel tired all day and still struggle to fall asleep at night. One problem feeds the other. That cycle is hard to break without fixing the deficiency first. Testing is simple, just a blood draw. Ask for a 25-hydroxy vitamin D test. A healthy level sits roughly between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter. Below 20 is deficient. Between 20 and 30 is often not enough for people who are having symptoms. If your level is low, vitamin D3 supplements work well for most people. A common starting dose for deficiency is between 2,000 and 5,000 IU per day. Your doctor can help dial in the right amount. Take vitamin D with a meal that has some fat in it. Your body absorbs it better that way. Recheck your blood level every 3 to 4 months until it's where it should be. The third deficiency doesn't get talked about nearly enough: magnesium. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 different processes in your body. It helps your muscles work. It helps your nerves send signals. It helps control blood sugar. And most importantly for energy, it helps your cells make the fuel they need to function. Without enough magnesium, your body can't produce energy the way it's supposed to. You feel it as fatigue, but you might also feel it as trouble focusing, muscle cramps, headaches, constipation, anxious thoughts, and broken sleep. That sleep piece is worth slowing down on. Magnesium helps calm your nervous system. It works on the same brain pathways that many sleep and anxiety medications target, but naturally. When people don't have enough magnesium, they often describe lying in bed exhausted but unable to settle down. Their mind keeps going. They wake up through the night. They get up in the morning feeling like they barely rested. If that sounds familiar, magnesium may be part of what's driving it. About half of Americans don't get enough magnesium from food. It's found in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, beans, and whole grains. But processed foods have very little of it, and over decades, soil quality has dropped, which means even fresh vegetables carry less magnesium than they once did. People can be eating a fairly decent diet and still come up short. What makes this hard to detect is that a standard blood test won't reliably catch low magnesium. Most of the magnesium in your body lives inside your cells and in your bones, not floating in your blood. So your blood level can look normal while the rest of your body is running low. There's a more sensitive test called a red blood cell magnesium test, but even that has limits. Many doctors will simply suggest trying a supplement if your symptoms fit and your diet is low in magnesium, because it's safe, and the response often makes the case better than any test can. If you do supplement, the type matters. Magnesium oxide, the cheapest and most common kind, is poorly absorbed. Your body gets very little out of it. Magnesium glycinate absorbs well and doesn't upset the stomach. It's a solid choice for daily use, especially if sleep or anxiety is the main concern. Magnesium citrate also absorbs well, but at higher doses it has a laxative effect. That's useful for some people and not for others. A typical dose is 200 to 400 milligrams per day. Taking it in the evening works well if sleep is the goal. To bring this all together, if you've been dealing with ongoing fatigue and your regular labs came back fine, these are the 3 things worth looking at more closely. Iron stores through a ferritin test, vitamin D through a 25-hydroxy test, and magnesium through diet or a supplement trial, since standard testing has real limits. None of this requires big lifestyle changes. All 3 can improve with the right foods and targeted supplements. Most people don't feel a dramatic overnight shift. It builds gradually. But over a few weeks, things start to change. More energy through the day, a clearer head, better sleep. Less of that heavy, dragging feeling that had started to feel like just the way things are. Fatigue doesn't have to be something you simply accept, but finding the real cause means looking in the right places. If you've been told you're fine and you still don't feel fine, keep pushing. Ask for these tests by name. And if your concerns aren't being taken seriously, it's reasonable to seek a second opinion. Your body needs certain things to run well. When it doesn't get them, it shows you, through symptoms exactly like the ones we've talked about today. Paying attention to that and acting on it is one of the most practical steps you can take for your long-term health. And there you have it. Take this knowledge and take control of your health. Thank you for watching.